Friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Vlogmas. My name's Angel and today I'm going to be doing my reading goals for 2025. I did this video in 2024 and I think I did a pretty good job of sticking to my goals, to be honest. Everyone that was like a numerical value I could hit, I did. And then more of the like abstract ones, I think I still did a pretty good job of accomplishing. I sat down and made a list of things I would love to accomplish regarding my reading next year as I go into pretty much my clearly my second full year of reading in my adult life, but my third year of reading now that I read again as an adult. Realistically, it's okay if I don't do all these. These things I would like to try to be more mindful of going into next year to not only just make my reading experience better, but also just kind of have more clear goals of what I'm doing. Even though it's a hobby that's for fun, you do also create bookish content though. It's kind of nice to kind of have some goals laid out to kind of help you out as you go along. But so let's get into it. The big numerical one everyone wants to know is how many books would I like to read next year. I read 200 books in 2023, and this year in 2024 my goal was 150, and I believe I'm already at like 175 or so I hit it again. I am going to lower it for next year, I think, and it kind of ties into a couple of the goals I have, and I think I want to lower it to 125 books next year, which still is a lot of books. Like, it's still a very, very good amount, but truthfully I feel like 125 books is still like 10 books a month, if not a little bit more, some of them. I know a lot of the books I'm reading next year are very thick books. I want to constantly worry about like if I have the time to read those thick books when I have this like numerical goal I'm trying to hit. I won't be able to have a little bit more leniency with it, a little more time, breathability, all that fun stuff. So I think I'm going to lower it to 125. My nonfiction goal, I'm going to keep the exact same as last year. I made a goal to read 5 nonfiction books a year, and I think for me that's a very good number. The 5 I read this year though were all memoirs. I feel like that probably is like my jam and what I enjoy. I think I do that again. I wouldn't up it from there, to be honest, because I feel like the 5 was a good number and I never felt like stressed like I had to pick one up. Very much throughout the year is kind of just like as I wanted to pick one up, I did, and then I hit my 5 for the end of the year. I could obviously do more, but I like my fiction books. Last year I made a goal to read more audiobooks, and this third one kind of ties into that, and that's that this year I would like to do more immersive reading. I read audiobooks a lot more this year and I did really enjoy them, but my thing with audiobooks is that not sure else to relate to this, so this is why I lowered my number goal for this year, because for me this is probably gonna be very niche, but when I read faster than audiobooks do, even when I put them on like 3 times the speed. If you guys can tell by the way I talk, my mind goes a mile a minute. I've always read extremely fast, it's just how I am. So typically like when I'm listening and I'm not reading along, I'll listen at like 2 to 2.5 times the speed, which still is very fast, but slower than I would read. And then even when I'm reading along with my book, I'll go to put it at like 3.5 times the speed on Audible, and I'm like comfortably keeping up where like I could go faster if I was without it. If I'm doing reading challenges, like if I'm trying to read like 200 pages a day, I won't listen to my audiobook with my book, even though I really enjoy doing that, especially for fantasy. It's so much fun because I want to go faster and because I know I can go faster. I definitely was building a better picture of what's going on around me, and so I'd love to do more of that this year and worry less about like, I guess sometimes with challenges it's hard, but not worry so much about like reading as fast as I can and getting through as many books as I can, and more so just actually time to make sure I really enjoy them and have a good experience reading them, you know? Fourth goal is one I epically failed at last year in 2024. Clearly I did this as like 2 separate goals last year. I'm gonna make it one, and this is just find one way, I don't care what it is, find one way that works for me tracking my reading. This year I did so terribly. I started a reading journal, barely used it. Like I used my series tracker and that was it. And then even then I would go months without updating Goodreads or Storygraph, and then try to go back and like put all the books in at once, and like the dates weren't accurate, my thoughts weren't on there, it wasn't like as much fun. I will say in 2023 I did use Storygraph, and I love Storygraph, and I kept up really well with that. I think like every day I'd update how many pages I read, and I just like love doing it. It's such like a fun thing for me to like see the graphs update and all that. But I'm not sure what happened this year, but I just stopped logging it, and now it's one of the things where I'm gonna try to figure out how many books I've read, and I'm going back, I'm like, wait, because I didn't even do reading wrap-ups for September and October, and so I'm like, what books did I read? Like I can't, like what if I read one and I totally forgot about it, you know? And so I'm trying to make sure I actually keep a better track of it. So I'm not sure what it's gonna look like. I think it will probably be Storygraphed because I've used that in the past and I have really enjoyed it, but I need to find some sort of way to track my reading that I enjoy, that I will actually stick with. So like I said, I would love if I did Storygraph again, and then even as I finish a book, even if I don't want to like write something about it, just like give it a star rating on there so I remember how I feel, and if I want to go back later and like write like a couple of paragraphs or a couple of sentences, I can. But I would just have a way for me to track my reading again so I can reflect on my reading, because I find that, like I said, there's some books I read and I totally forget about. and I just never think about them ever again. This next one is more in regards to social media, but like I said, when you create bookish content, they kind of blend together. This one is better scheduling for my social media and more so just like content planning, I think. If you guys know, I'm a very busy gal. I work 3 jobs and do YouTube and TikTok, so I have a lot going on all the time. And I feel like a lot of the time social media can become very stressful for me when it comes to timing. I'll sit there and be like, oh, I need to post me on TikTok, but I have nothing planned. I gotta like film a video really quick when I get home and edit it and like throw it up. Like, oh, my YouTube video has to go up tomorrow and I haven't even started editing it yet. I gotta like edit really quickly and throw it up. It's always, I feel like, something that's almost like stressful. That's because I don't plan very well. I see those content creators who have like little plans. They're like, hey, I'm gonna batch film 4 videos on Sunday and then post them one. And then, you know, I have like an hour on Tuesday to film another video. I'm gonna edit that one. It's so like well thought out and organized. And I feel like if I actually blocked out time to do it more regularly, it would become less stressful. Even plan like my week ahead of time, being like, hey, these videos I'm posting on TikTok this week. These are the 7 videos I want to post Monday through Sunday. Designating them and then filming them ahead of time, or being ready to film them whenever, because I know exactly what videos I'm filming. I don't have to think about it. Same with YouTube. I switched to filming 2 videos a week back in September or August, I think. And I did it very well. I think in November I stopped doing twice a week because I was also trying to really give myself time to gear up for Vlogmas. That was good, but definitely was more planning. I think I did pretty well with that planning for the first couple months of doing it. But so I would love to catch up in the month, make a clear idea of what I want for YouTube for the entire month to look like, and then probably TikTok week by week. And then maybe try to like batch film more, get some filming out of the way when I actually have time instead of just like sitting there doing nothing and be on my phone. Make social media as stress-free as possible for myself next year. The next goal is to have more confidence in my annotating, and also that just comes by annotating more. I start my annotating journey this year. I've only annotated 3 books so far, or 4, I guess you can say. Here's like 2 of the ones that I did for the Harry Potter series. Pretty much when I annotate, so right now, I have to annotate on my e-reader first. And I'm not just something that's ever going to go away, or something like kind of go away when I build my confidence. But with me, the problem is like, I like to do my e-reader first because I like to go through and just highlight whatever I want to highlight without thinking about it. And then from there, I can look at my tabs when I'm done, and I look at my annotations and I go, okay, what categories work for these annotations? And then I go, okay, what colors do I want to use? And then I just transfer them to the book. I think it just works a lot better in my head. But even then, I think more so for me, it's just kind of realizing that I can annotate whatever I want to annotate. Like, doesn't feel like any rhyme or reason. Like, I think when I annotated just for the summer, I went back and I was like, well, why would I highlight that? I'm like, well, because I want to. Let me live. Literally to myself, let me live. But I think a lot of my annotations are pretty cute, to be honest. Like, I think I do a decent job at it. Like when I kind of show the whole paragraph and I highlight what I really like there. My ones and just for the summer are some of my favorite ones I've ever done, to be honest. Those ones are gorgeous. That's my room. I'm not going to get up to get it right now if I'm just being blunt. I don't know why I like this page where I used a lot of like underlining and highlighting. There's underlining and highlighting in there. I just really enjoy it. Also, there's no really rhyme or reason why I highlight or underline. Just some things are highlighting and some things just need to be underlined. Does that make sense? I actually normally would just annotate books I've read before, but I have started annotating Mistborn as I read them, and that's a series I've never read before. I'm kind of enjoying it more, reading it and getting my first initial thoughts. That way when I go back and I reread them later, I can look back and be like, oh, this is what I thought the first time I ever read it. Another goal I have is to thrift more books. Like, there's some books I know I need to buy for this year, but the rest of the books, honestly, I feel like are just gonna be random books I find that like I'm sound interested in. I would just like love to make more of an effort of actually going to secondhand bookstores and kind of like thrift stores more often and just picking my book selections from there. I think it's more fun because a lot of books you find there are ones like you don't really hear a lot about, or you've found kind of blindly. You always do kind of go in sometimes and have like those like treasures you find where it's like book talk books, things like, you know, but also I kind of want to go in there to kind of read some backs and like find books I'd be interested in that I wouldn't have normally found or thought of. I would also count Book Outlet in here, to be honest. I love going to Book Outlet and kind of seeing what they have every once in a while. It's a really great website. I've only ever had really great books from there. Just kind of have like dots on the top or bottom, wherever it is. It's never actually big damage to them. They have their $7.99 sale going on quite a bit, and then if not, they're like $11 when they're like $22, $25. Like some of the paperbacks I want to buy this year are The Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson, and those paperbacks are $36 Canadian. Anyways. And the last one is kind of just like some goals I've set for books I want to read next year. I didn't really make a big TBR for next year. I did do my 25 books I want to read in 2025, and that is on here. One of the goals is just to read those 25 books. Just actually stick to those. I do very good about sticking to my month-to-month TBRs, but I've never made a big overarching TBR like this, so I want to really see if I stick to it, and I want to try really hard to read all 25 of those books. The next one is a reread. I would love to reread the entire Massverse before the end of next year. At the time I'm filming this, I've already read A Court of Thorns and Roses again, and A Court of Mist and Fury is on my December TBR, but then that means the other 14 books for next year. I think it's like a pretty good pace of like 1 book a month too. That's like very comfortable. I think I can get that done. I would also love to reread the entire Shadowhunters universe on here, but I feel like that's pushing it a little bit. I would love to at least start it though. Start my reread of that so I can annotate the entire Shadowhunters universe. And then 2 series that are pretty new to me still, but are very, very long, daunting endeavors, I guess you say, is I want to finish The Cosmere and finish Realm of the Elderlings. So The Cosmere is a collection of like a million Brandon Sanderson books. At the time of filming this, like I said, I have already read the first 2 in the OG Mistborn trilogy, and I will read Hero of Ages before the end of the year as well. But so that leaves, I think, still like 5 standalones, a whole bunch of short stories, the 5 books in the Stormlight Archive, and the 4 books in Mistborn Era 2, all to read next year. And then obviously this man pumps out like a million books a year, so there will definitely be more by the time the year is done. And then Realm of the Elderlings is a huge overarching like series by Robin Hobb that's actually like 4 series that are all in the same world. 3 trilogies and then 1 quartet. I read the first 2 books in the first trilogy, the Farseer trilogy, and I'm hoping to read book 3 by the end of this year. It is on my 10 before the end, so I'm hoping I get to it. But if not, then I still have the other 10 to read next year. One good thing about this series though is at least this series is like very much over. Like I'm pretty sure she wrote the Farseer trilogy in like the 1980s, and this whole series wrapped up or like years ago, so there's not really any new books I have to keep up with. Like once I finish it, I'm done, and that's kind of like very comforting to know. You know, it's very like stress relieving to know that once I finish that series, it's actually done. There's nothing else coming out that the author's gonna pump out on me, you know? But friends, those are my goals for next year. I'm really hoping, like I said, I did pretty good with my goals last year, but I'm really hoping I stick with all these. I think I'm gonna find some kind of way to display them, either like on my desk or my room, to kind of remind myself about them. Because some of these I really need to work on and stay accountable to. I really hope you guys are enjoying Vlogmas so far. If you guys have any of your own goals for 2025 you'd like to share with me, please leave them down below. I really hope we all have an amazing reading year next year. But as always, if you guys like today's video, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It helps the channel out so much. I'm also on TikTok at Angel's Book Corner. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.